Star Wars Revenge of the Sith! So, here we have Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, the third and final film of the prequel trilogy, and the best in the whole prequel trilogy. We've had Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, and let's face it, I've never been kind about those films, so I'm so glad that I've got those reviews out of the way. So without further ado, we can take a look at Revenge of the Sith. So let's see what it has to say on the back. The Star Wars saga is now complete on DVD. Well, it was for a time, until they announced that there was going to be more Star Wars films. But anyhow, that's besides the point. Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Torn between loyalty to his mentor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the seductive powers of the Sith, Anakin Skywalker ultimately turns his back on the Jedi, thus completing his journey to the dark side and his transformation into Darth Vader. Experience the breathtaking scope of the final chapter in this spectacular digital clarity and relive all the epic battles, including the final climactic lightsaber duel between Anakin and Obi-Wan. And this connects the whole of the Star Wars films in terms of the original and prequel trilogy. It bridges the gap, and I think that this does a really good job. This is easily the best Star Wars film since Return of the Jedi came out. This, to me, felt like Star Wars. From the opening scene with the battle over Coruscant, when you got Anakin and Obi-Wan battling against all these droids, when we have the return of Count Dooku, played once again by the wonderful late great actor Sir Christopher Lee, and Dooku gets killed by Anakin. Chancellor by this point, Chancellor Palpatine tells him to kill him, because what they have to do in the opening is basically rescue Chancellor Palpatine, and it's during this sequence after Dooku is killed, when they have to escape from the main mothership of the whole fleet, they come across the leader of the droid army that is like this cyborg type of character, and it is General Grievous, and General Grievous is a great character. Why we didn't see more of him in the main films, I never know. But I believe we get to see more of him in the expanded universe stuff, like in the Clone Wars and that type of thing. So it's good that we've got another character there, although it doesn't really get that much screen time. Grievous gets killed off, I'd say, around halfway through the film, which is quite sad, but again, they had to kill him off because he never appeared in the original trilogy. Quite a few characters get killed off in this film, and it makes sense. This, of course, is the darkest Star Wars film out of the first 6, as you can see by the classification that this is a 12. So by that, you have to be 12 and over to watch it. But I wasn't 12 when I watched this. I watched this film when I was 10. I went to cinema to see it, and to be quite honest with you, I was blown away. This felt like Star Wars again, and it was such a shame because it felt like the end of Star Wars, at the time. As we know, we are getting more Star Wars, which is just great. Because you got to remember, this at the time was intended to be the very last one. There wasn't intended to be any more Star Wars films. It was just going to be the first 6. That was it. And this, of course, as I said before, it shows Anakin turning to the dark side and finally becoming Darth Vader. So when did he become Darth Vader? Oh, at the final bit of the film. If there's one major complaint I have with this film, it is that we didn't get more of actual Darth Vader in the suit and wearing the mask. I would have liked to see more of him. Because for me, Darth Vader he's like the main character of the first 6 films, isn't he? If you think about it. Starts off as a young, annoying kid that no one really likes. It's pod racing. And then in the second one, he just comes across as this annoying little shit. And then in the third one, he becomes across as annoying little shit. Oh, right. So, how much has the character developed since we last saw him in Attack of the Clones? Well, Anakin has got longer hair. He has a scar on his face that has been unexplained unless you read into how he got the scar. Like I did, because, you know, I am a nerd. And his relationship with Padme continues to blossom. And I'll be honest, the scene when Padme reveals to Anakin after they get home that she is pregnant is actually very well acted. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hayden Christensen cannot really save this film. He can't save the character because his acting wasn't that good in Attack of the Clones. And while it's still not that good, I certainly think it's a definite improvement over Episode 2. I think everything about this film is so much better than Attack of the Clones, and, you know, way better than The Phantom Menace. We get a bit of the love story in this film again, which, you know, is kind of shit because, you know, I always thought that the relationship between Anakin and Padme, it just felt forced. Whereas a relationship like Han Solo and Princess Leia, that felt more natural. With this, it was just forced, and it was just, yeah, it was just horrible. The dialogue's cheesy yet again, and I find these probably the most cringeworthy scenes, especially when Padme confronts Anakin for the last time before he kills her, and she says, "Oh, Anakin, you're breaking my heart." So yeah, I'm just not really totally invested in terms of that part of the film. As for the action scenes, absolutely bloody awesome. Yeah, we've got loads of CGI, and I believe that this is still the Guinness World Record holder to date for the largest amount of special effects shots in a whole film. It's nearly every shot. CGI left, right and centre, and it's shit all over the place. But for a film that celebrates its 10th anniversary this year, the CGI still holds up very, very well. It holds up even better than the CGI that we saw in the other 2 prequel films. And that is a good thing, right? And we get a lot more of CGI Yoda in this. We get to see him fight Emperor Palpatine towards the end of the film, which, by the way, is just fantastic. And I think that all of the battles in this film, some of the best in the whole series, I really do. In fact, some of them are contenders for the actual best in the whole series. I think that is especially evident in the final battle that takes place on the Mustafar system, the volcano planet, the fire planet, when Anakin and Obi-Wan are having the final duel together. It's just brilliant, brilliantly choreographed, and it's just all the special effects going on at the same time is brilliant. And I can't go through this review without mentioning the magnificent music in this film. John Williams has done it again. This is some of the best music he's ever done for a film. We got some returning music from the original trilogy because it bridges the gap to episode 3 and episode 4. Towards the end of the film, it's becoming more like the original trilogy, and I'll be honest, I actually didn't want the film to end. So surely that is positive enough for all of you, right? That's all positive. Hardly any negatives to talk about this film, apart from the crappy love storyline and a couple of other things. You know, the film overall is all good. And I say the best performance goes to Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. He just captures the character in the right way. And, you know, Ewan's performance, he doesn't try to imitate the performance of the late great Sir Alec Guinness, like his performances in the original trilogy. You know, Ewan makes it his own, but at the same time, the character is becoming more like the character that you see as an old wizard type of character in A New Hope, and that's fantastic in my opinion. So yeah, Ewan McGregor, he's one of the best things about the prequel trilogy in my opinion. Lucas did a very good job in casting him. They did the right thing casting him there. I can't imagine anyone else playing a younger version of Obi-Wan Kenobi. But as for almost everyone else, meh. Although I will say, Ian McDiarmid, he gives a phenomenal performance as Emperor Palpatine. He arguably steals the show in this as well. We get a lot of screen time with Emperor Palpatine. We get to see his side of the story, how it became all deformed, and obviously he has been posing as the Chancellor for the whole time, the Chancellor of the Republic, and he has brainwashed everyone to taking part in this war, and he's actually in charge of both sides. So it's a very good menacing performance by Ian McDiarmid, and we get to see him with a lightsaber as well. I mean, come on. I just love it. Every time I watch this film, I always look forward to the scenes with him in it, because they are some of the best scenes in the whole film, and hold up as some of the best scenes in the entire Star Wars series, in my opinion. I really do think that. I'm not kidding you here. I really am not kidding you. I swear to God. Ian McDiarmid as the Emperor. Fantastic. Natalie Portman does her best in this film as Padme and Amidala once again. But she doesn't have as much to do as what she did in The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. She's just more of a side character in this, and is just there to, well, give birth to the twins and, well, die at the end. So kind of a shame, really, because Padme is quite a bit of a decent character, apart from, you know, her relationship with Anakin. I really do feel that she is an alright character. Plus she kicks ass as well, but she doesn't really do that in this film at all. She's just there to, well, be there, I guess, just to exist, and kind of pointless. But she's needed for the plot. She's the mother of both Luke and Leia, so they needed her in this film. But I just get the impression that she's been sort of like shoehorned in, you know? A bit of a shame, really. But, hey, you know, we have to see more of the other stuff. I really love the clone battles that take place on the planet Kashyyyk, the home world of the Wookiees. And I said Wookiees, I'll go straight into that right now. Yoda and Chewbacca together. Chewbacca makes his first chronological appearance in the Star Wars universe in this film, although fourth in technicality terms. But I'm not going to go into that. You know, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. We all know the story. And, you know, Peter Mayhew gives an absolutely brilliant performance as Chewbacca here. My favourite part of the film, in terms of Chewbacca's performance, it's the bit when he goes, oh, breaks my heart. It really does. I find the first third of this film very, very intriguing, because the whole plot is the Jedi know that there's something up and there's someone manipulating the Council. And this was alluded to towards the end of Attack of the Clones, when Dooku told Obi-Wan there's someone who is surrounded the Jedi with the dark side of the Force. Now, who could it be? Could it be Mr. Bean?
Magic.
No, I don't think it could be Mr. Bean. I don't think he'd have that amount of intelligence. Or could it be... But of course, if you pay attention to all the films, we all know that it is Palpatine. And again, McDiarmid does a good performance. And if you watch all the films back, knowing that's what's going to happen now, you can really see that performance mirrors through all of his appearances, from Phantom Menace all the way up to Return of the Jedi. He's one of the best things about the first 6 episodes, in my opinion. He's one of my personal favourite characters. And, you know, he's the main puppeter, the main mastermind of the dark side of the Force. It's absolutely brilliant. He's a brilliant character. The scenes between him and Anakin are some of the best, when Anakin turns to the dark side. Although at times it does again feel a bit forced. It's just, he falls to the dark side so easily. He's so tempted by it after he gets deformed, after Windu deflects the lightning off Palpatine's hands. It goes back onto his face from his lightsaber, his purple lightsaber, and Windu gets killed. Quite sad to see him go, really. Again, I've said this before, he's quite an underused character, Windu, because Samuel L. Jackson, you know? We all know about Samuel L. Jackson, what he does in his films, right? But I suppose it is a Star Wars film, so some of the kids will have been watching, so he can't actually, you know, say the dreaded F word, because, you know, that would just ruin Star Wars forever, if you know what I mean, if you can catch my drift. So much good stuff to talk about, and I think that I'd be here for hours talking about the good stuff. But there is some bad stuff that I've mentioned as well, although nothing bad compared to the problems that episode 1 and 2 had. It seems like George Lucas listened to us on this one, which is great. The problems with episode 1 was Jar Jar Binks. The problem with episode 2 was Jar Jar Binks made an appearance. The problem with episode 3 is... oh. Jar Jar Binks is in this film, isn't he? But he only says one line. Excuse me. Well, at least he doesn't have to say all the stupid shit that he had to say in episode 1 and 2. And one flaw with this film, they should have shown Jar Jar getting killed. I think that would have made every single Star Wars fan happy. But of course, we all know he could actually be a Sith Lord, and he could be returning in The Force Awakens, so he could be the real mastermind behind this, and not Emperor Palpatine. But yeah, the best scenes, this lightsaber battle on Mustafar, when Anakin's body gets burnt after Obi-Wan chops his body parts off, he's only got like his torso left, yet he survived. It must show how powerful he is. And, you know, he becomes scarred for life. And, you know, you see that in Return of the Jedi, which is set like 30 odd years after this film. And it's really good how you see him become Darth Vader. It connects the final pieces of the jigsaw puzzle, in my opinion. And then it gets explained how the kids get adopted after Padme gives birth and then subsequently dies. Explains what Yoda does afterwards, and they should have kept the deleted scene in when he goes into Dagobah. That would have completed everything for me, because he says, "Into exile I will go. Dumb shit I am." And Obi-Wan says, "Oh yeah, I'll watch over Luke." And, you know, everything gets connected. We get to see the construction of the Death Star. It's brilliant. And every time I see that, I get goosebumps. And the end of the film is kind of like the beginning of A New Hope. Because we have the adopted parents, Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen, holding a baby Luke Skywalker up. You see the two moons, and you have that fantastic Binary Sunset score playing in the background, and it's a great way to end the prequel trilogy, in my opinion. It really is. It bumped up the prequel trilogy a whole lot more. I really enjoy this film. Every time I watch it, I enjoy it a lot. And sometimes I'm just tempted to skip 1 and 2 and just go straight on to 3. Because this is a worthy prequel. I really do think it is a worthy prequel. So yeah, not all the prequel trilogy, in my opinion, is terrible. I think that episode 3, albeit still not perfect, is a hell of an improvement on episode 1 and episode 2, and if I had to give it a score, then I would happily give it a decent, respectable 8 out of 10. So yeah, miles better than The Phantom Menace, which I gave a 3 out of 10, and Attack of the Clones, that I gave a 3.5 out of 10. So you can see I really like this film a lot. But again, it's just one major complaint I have with this is a lot of the promotional material had Darth Vader. Look at the first disc of this film here, people. We have Darth Vader here. Darth Vader only appears for the last 5 minutes of the whole goddamn film. Best 5 minutes of my life, mind you, because, you know, it is awesome. Although, I hate it when he goes, no! But still, I love the bit when he's on the bridge of the main ship. We've even got a look-alike actor for Peter Cushing as well, which is great. A younger version of Grand Moff Tarkin. And, oh, it's just the vision of the Emperor and Darth Vader just watching on as the Death Star is getting completed. It's fantastic, and you get that version of the Imperial March in the background as well. It's just bloody amazing. It really, really is amazing. So yeah, advertise Darth Vader too much. I would have liked to see him a hell of a lot more. I mean, we do see him at the end, but I would have liked to see him for at least half an hour, and I would have liked to actually see Darth Vader do stuff as well, kicking some ass, you know. But if you want to see that, then go and watch the original trilogy. Oh, that reminds me. Now that the prequel trilogy is over, all that's left for me to review now, in terms of the first 6 Star Wars films, is the original trilogy! Yes! Don't forget to click the link below to subscribe to me, James Croft, aka the Obsesstuvian 95. Have a great day.